Hello friends, welcome back to your UPSC. So today we'll start with another topic of geomorphology, that is concept of geomorphic cycles. So let's get started. So what exactly is geomorphic cycle? Geomorphic cycle is a time period during which the uplifted mass undergoes transformation. So how it is transformed? See, this is a landmass, uplifted landmass. Okay, so it will get eroded and denuded, which will result into plateau, and then ultimately it will convert into plain. Okay, so this change which the landmass has undergone, this comes in geomorphic cycle. This geomorphic cycle is also known as geographical cycle or cycle of erosion. Okay, so there are various theories related to geomorphic cycle. Basically we have major three theories. So the first one is slope decline or peneplain theory of W.M. Davis. So Davis gave this theory. Basically gave this theory by influenced by Darwin's model of natural selection and Hutton's model of law of uniformitism. Okay, and the Davis model is based on time. Okay, so it is a time dependent model, and it is based on fluvial morphology, and the area which he has studied is humid and temperate climate. Okay, now the basic assumptions of his theory were: first is when the mass or the land mass has fully uplifted, then only erosion can occur. Okay, so without the without fully uplifted land mass, the erosion can't take place according to Davis. Next is there is a competition between exogenetic and endogenetic forces that always exist. See, exogenetic forces are interior forces which are leading to upliftment of mass or anything like that. Okay, and endogenetic forces are the forces which are leading to this formation of landmass, and exogenetic forces are the forces like erosional agents like water, air, etc. Okay, next, but this concept, this competition, this part was basically more explained by Planck in his theory. Okay, so we'll study it later. Now, the factors responsible for landform origin. So Davis gave three main factors which were responsible for landform origin according to him. He said that landscape is a function of structure, process, and time. The structure, process, and time were also known as trios of Davis, and these were based on inorganic natural selection, which was influenced by Darwin's model of natural selection. Okay, so structure is actually lithological and structural characteristics of rocks. Okay, so the type of rock, structure of rock, folded or fold or faults in the rock, etc. All these things come under the structure of rock. Next is time. Time, it is a temporal context for the progression of changes of landform. Okay, so it will see about the past, like what the landform has started, like in what form the landform has started to originate, and then how it is in present and how it will become in future. Next is process. Process, it involves agent of denudation, which are basically of two types, that is weathering agent and erosional agents. Okay, so this is the cycle of Davis. Okay, so here this mass has fully uplifted, and now the denudation process will start according to Davis. Now what will happen? This is the youth stage. Okay, and then when the denudation is or erosion is more, it will come in mature stage, and then old stage. This is a this is also in river morphology. We can say in fluvial geomorphology. We will also see it. We will see that there is U-shaped valley, V-shaped valley, because we have fluvial morphology. So V-shaped valley occurs due to fluvial erosion. Okay. So fluvial morphology, V-shaped valley in youth stage. Then we have mature stage, which where mainly the flood occurs, and next at the old stage we have meandering of river, etc. And at last we will see peneplain with few monad rocks. Monad rocks are actually hard rock structure, like small pieces of hard rock. In between the soft rock structure that is plain, we have some hard rocks, which are also known as monad rocks. Okay, and this whole is a temporal dependent, like time dependent thing. So according to these three, that is structure, time, and process, he gave three cycles, that is drainage development, cycle of drainage development, cycle of slope development, and cycle of landscape development. So in the in the cycle of drainage development, in the youth stage we will see that there are maximum number of rivers, and they have highest velocity because the slope is steep. So the velocity of water running will be very high. Next is mature stage, where main floods are formed, and lastly we have floodplains, which are formed in old stage, and river meanders. Okay, this we will study in fluvial landforms also, where we will study this whole in detail. Next is slope development. In slope development, at youth stage, we will see there will be steep slope. See, there is steep slope and headward erosion. There will be headward erosion. Okay, like this. We will have just a second. We will have headward erosion. Next is in mature stage, we will have lateral erosion and gentle slope, and in old stage we will have flat or very uh, very slow slope. Okay. Next is landscape development. In landscape development we will see, in youth stage we will have v-shaped valleys. So here we will have v-shaped valleys, and in mature stage we will have lateral development, and in old stage we will have flat surface with the presence of monad rocks. That is peneplain with the presence of monad rocks. So evaluation, this was the very clear and simple model, and the biggest merit was it was based on the field observation. Okay, so whatever the Davis have studied in his field observation, he put it in his theory. So it was based on field observation, and hence it was very scientific. And here we can see the concept of base model as well as the idea of landscape development and fluvial morphology. But there was a negative or drawbacks of this model, that is, this whole erosional process, as Davis said, is time dependent, but the bank rejected it, and he explained that this landform development is not a time dependent model. Next, he gave this model only for a specific area, that was humid area. So that was the another drawback, and he could not explain depositional model. Okay, so this was the last drawback. Next, now we will study the Pank's model. So Pank gave slope replacement theory. In his theory, he said that the shape of landform is the function of ratio of velocity of endogenetic movement to the erosional intensity. Okay, so what does this mean is, see, there is endogenetic process which is leading to the rise of or upliftment of the landform, and next there is erosional landforms, that is exogenetic forces which are eroding this. So whichever is more efficient, the landform will be developed according to that. Okay, if there is more of endogenetic forces acting, then the landform will uplift. And if there are erosional process are more, or erosional process are having much more intensity, then the slope will be denuded. Okay, and this model is time independent model. This is the most important thing. It is a time independent model, and it focuses on various things. Like, first is, the surface is a result of competition between exogenetic and endogenetic forces. This we studied in Davis model also. So this is better explained in this one. Competition between exogenetic, that is diastrophic process, and endogenetic forces, that is erosional process. Next is, shape and intensity depend on the ratio of down cutting, that is incision, and removal of debris. So, like, if the uplifted rock is soft, then it will be denuded much faster. And if it is hard rock, then the down rate of down cutting and removal of debris will be slow. So shape and intensity will depend on what type of rock it is and the ratio of incision and removal of debris. Next is, Planck said that he could explain plate tectonic movement, and which is caused by crustal information. Okay, by plate tectonic movement can be explained due to by crustal information. Okay, but he failed to explain, so which is the major drawback or the major demerit of his theory. Next is, upliftment and erosion coexist. Now this was again the second most important thing. Davis said that upliftment will occur, and only when the upliftment will stop, then only the erosion will take place. Okay, but Planck said that upliftment of the rock or upliftment of the landform and erosion coexisted. This is only the thing that there is a the one which is having more intensity will show its result. Okay, so this is what he gave. So first there is upliftment, and erosion is taking place at this time also. But at this time, what is happening, the velocity of endogenetic movement or endogenetic intensity is more than the exogenetic forces, that is erosional intensity is less. Okay, so here the land slope is increasing. Now when the upliftment stops, the denudation process intensifies, and these slopes are cut off, and at last we get wash slopes and romps. Okay, so now we will see the stages of development, and we will study the chart also at the same time. Next is, so we have three stages of development, same as Davis. So the first one is, waxing or accelerating stage. This is waxing or accelerating stage, where we have steep slope, endogenetic forces are more than exogenetic forces. Next is uniform rate of development. See, here we have uniform rate of development. Okay, so in it we will see that there are further this stage is divided into three sub stages, that is three sub stages or three parts or three types. First is where upliftment decreases. Okay, so the rate of upliftment, it decreases in the first one. Next case that can happen is upliftment is taking place, but the erosional process has intensified. But so the exogenetic forces are more intensive than the endogenetic forces. Next is the last case is upliftment ends. Okay, now the upliftment is taking place with nil velocity, okay, nil intensity, and there is continuous degradation. Okay, So these were the three cases of uniform rate of development. Next is, or the last one is, banning or deaccelerating stage. Okay, here no upliftment take place, only erosion takes place. And here we can have two types of slopes, that is gravity slope and wash slopes. Gravity slopes are like they are high hills, and wash slopes are flat. See here you can see gravity slopes and wash slopes. Okay, so they are here the erosional process is slow, and here erosional process is much faster. Okay, and lastly, Pank also said that here we have the theory of parallel retreat because there is uniform weathering and flow of debris as well. Okay, so this replacement theory can also be known as theory of parallel retreat. Okay, now we will see into the demerits of this theory. So the major drawbacks of this theory are, first is the work or the theory is incomplete because of uncertain death of Pank. Next is obscure composition in difficult German language. So this whole theory is in German language, okay, which make it difficult to interpret by the other scientists. Next is in ill-defined terminologies. So you can see I have not used his terminologies because they are extremely difficult, as well as they are not totally defined by Pank, because of which the scientists are sometimes confused. Okay, so what exactly Pank tries to say in this word. Okay, last is there are some contradictory ideas. Okay, so he said that he will explain tectonic movement by this theory, but he was not able to explain so this was his idea which was not explained. Now at last we will see King's theory of parallel slope retreat. So this theory is basically influenced. King is basically influenced by Davis. So his theory is fully based on Davis model, but the Davis model was on a humid climate, while his model is in arid and semi-arid climate of savanna region of South Africa. And instead of monoid rocks, he used word Inchelbergs because Inchelbergs are landforms in arid areas. Okay, which we will see in areolar landforms when we study them. Okay, so basic reference of King is, first is uniform development of landform in varying environmental condition. So there is uniform development of landform in whichever environmental condition they are. Second is the landscape are evolved by rhythmic global tectonic events. Okay, so major landforms are developed by tectonic events. And lastly, there is continuous retreat of land slope. So after once this cycle has taken place, this cycle again starts, and hence there is continuous retreat, because of which this theory is known as parallel retreat theory. Okay, so he gave four stages of the cycle. First is waxing stage, which have steep slope, and because there is steep slope, we have maximum transportation. Okay, so there is maximum transportation. Second is free phase, which is known as scarp. Okay, so here we can see outcrop of bedrock through which the transportation takes place. So here transportation take place. And third is constant slope or debris slope, where with it also retreats with free phase. Okay, and the last one is banning slope, that is the area of sheet wash. Okay, this is the last area So the area of sheet was. So the major drawback of King's theory is, first is it lacked field observation. Okay, so his theory is only based on the studies that he performed. He did uh, whatever he studied in South Africa. Okay, and next, the idea is only of arid and sub-arid region of South Africa. So, like there was a drawback in Davis' case that the idea was only for humid climate. So his idea is only for arid and semi-arid region. And he said that because he was influenced by Davis model, so he said that he will explain here we can explain fluvial geomorphology also, but he only said this in introduction, but he never touched this topic, which was one of the major drawback. And now we will see into major differences of Davis and King's model. So the first major difference is Davis said that peneplains are the result of downwashing, while King said that pedeplains are result of integration of pediments. Okay. Next, Davis said that there is of no chances of re-upliftment. So once the process has completed, now there will be no upliftment taking place. So the cycle will stop here. But Peng said that after the whole cycle has taken place, re-upliftment will again start. Okay, so this was a cyclic concept, while this was just once it has taken place, it will stop, and now never the upliftment is going to take place. So these are the major differences between Davis and Pank model. So is how we come to the end of geomorphic cycle. So that was all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the class. So let's meet in our next class. Till then, take care and have a nice day.